Okay, that's going. Rightio, so first of all we need to get our screens all up and running. Okay?
Yeah.
Which means turning the battery on. So we've got a battery switch up here, so I'll get you to push that down for us, as such. Yep. So it gives us some power that we can use, but we're purely running off the batteries. What we want to do is start up what we call our APU, okay, auxiliary power unit. We've seen on the back of aircraft, there's like an exhaust gas coming out right at the back there. That's called the
generator.
Yeah, basically. Okay, so we want to get that started up so we can draw power from that while we're on the ground. So we can push this button all the way down to start. So push it down to start there.
How do you know when it started?
Yeah. Just turn it off again. Put our fuel pumps on as well. Cool, and then we can switch these two down. Okay, and then we've got some power to all our instruments. So we're using power from that while we're on the ground rather than using power from our engines because they're not actually up and running at the moment. Okay. So what I've done is I've actually programmed in our route to Hamilton. Okay, which we can follow on our journey so we don't get lost. So we can actually start our engine. So we'll get our fuel pumps on. What else? It's all good. Okay, starting up our engines. I'll do these ones. So we'll just start up one engine at a time. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear that start.
So we can now put fuel into our engine, to our turbines. So that right engine's now starting up. That's good. And to start our left engine. Cool. I'll just get you to bring this lever all the way up to the top there. That's good. Okay, that's a good startup for both of those. That's good. Now we can actually draw power from our instruments and everything from our engines rather than from that auxiliary power unit. So we can push these two buttons downwards. Okay, so now we're drawing power from that APU unit. Okay, we can flick a few more switches on. So just looking up above us here, we can put our galley powers already on for the girls to make us a cuppa halfway in our flight. Okay, we can put our no smoking and seatbelt lights on, so if you'd like to switch those two down. Okay, that's all good. We need to put our window heat on. Probes on. Anti-ice we don't need. Hydraulic pumps are on, that's good. These ones are all good. Bleed from the engine. And steady strobe. Okay, so we're just about ready to go. Just down to your left there you'll find a lever. That's the one. Okay, that's called a tiller. That's what we use to actually steer the aircraft on the ground. So if you push that forward, the aircraft actually turns to the right, and if you pull it back, the aircraft actually turns to the left. Okay.
It steers the actual wheels.
Yeah, it steers the nose wheel. Is that sitting alright on your head there? You might just need to tighten it up a little bit.
I guess maybe that's better.
All good?
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Okay, so we steer the aircraft with that on the ground. Rather than our rudder pedals, it's just easier to manoeuvre the aircraft. It's quite sensitive, and it steers quite tight. Okay. Okay, so we can actually get a ground call now. We can take our park brake off. I'll get you to press that button there. And what happens is actually they start pushing us out. So we can get a bit of bit of distance so we can turn around and actually line up on the runway. Okay, just stop that there. So I'll just use the throttles just to maneuver us around to the right, and if you just push forward on that tiller, that should turn the aircraft around to the right as well. Just keep coming all the way around to the right.
More?
Yep, keep coming all the way around to the right.
Yeah, it is sensitive.
Yeah, very sensitive. We're just going to follow this track, this yellow line, follow that all the way out there. Now a good thing to do, see this point here on our dash, is to line that up with what we're trying to track towards, and that'll keep us nice and straight on where we want to go. So just keep following that yellow line. We're going to go to the right and backtrack all the way down the other end of the runway. So yeah, you can use your rudder pedals on the ground as well. We mainly use them on takeoff to keep us straight on the runway, and when we come into land. But just while we're taxiing, it's a lot easier to use the tiller. That's good. So we're going to backtrack all the way to the other end of the runway, and then we'll turn around. So you need to use full deflection of the tiller once we get to the other
right
end.
or the left?
We'll come over to the right, so it gives us a bit of space.
Gone too far.
Yep, I'll tell you when to turn. We'll come to a complete stop first, and then we'll start our turn again. Just come over to the right a bit more.
Yep.
Come over to the right a bit more. Right, so if you pull back on the tiller and come round to the left.
Yeah, I'm off the runway.
You actually find we're still on the runway. Yep, so just over to the left a bit more there. We can use the rudder just to help you out there.
Yep.
Okay, that'll be close enough for now. Right, so here we are parked up at the end of the runway. 07 runway, so we're going to be taking off magnetic heading of about 070 degrees. I'll just run through a few instruments and bits and pieces with you while we're on the ground before we get going, so we know what we're doing. First thing we'll do is we'll check out the aircraft from the outside. I'll show you the aircraft and a few functions. So here's our 737 parked at the end of the runway. A little bit crooked, but it's not too bad. I'll just change our view and have a look from behind. Okay, so yes, we're a little bit crooked. It's all good. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we've got ailerons on our wings, so this helps us roll the aircraft to the left and to the right. So if we deflect these on our controls, you see one going up on one wing and one going down on the other wing. Okay, and if we roll to the right, the opposite happens. Okay. Now when we want to climb, we just ease back on the controls as such, and you can see the tail of the aircraft there, the elevators going up. And if we want to descend, we just ease forward on the controls here, and we can descend. On the tail of the aircraft, you can see the rudder there to the left and to the right. Okay. We've got flaps, so if I lower the flaps, you'll see them lower on our wings there. Okay, when we come into land, we'll have them set on 40 degrees, but for takeoff and takeoff, we have them set at 15 degrees. Okay, that's our takeoff setting. We've also got spoilers, similar to a glider. You may have seen these being deployed on large aircraft on the upper surface of our wings. Another name for them is your speed brakes. Okay, so if I deflect those, you can see them. They purely destroy all the lift on the wings. Okay, so we can descend or slow down on our ground roll. Have you heard of a speed brake before? Reverse thrust. You heard of that before?
No.
Side on view. So there's our engine. Okay. When we land, we can actually use what we call reverse thrust. So we've got these two levers here. When we pull them all the way back, so I'll get you to do that for us. Pull them all the way back. You can see there our engine actually opens up on the side.
Yeah.
Okay, so instead of all the air being ducted and forced rearwards, all that air is getting pushed forwards through the side of the engine there. So if you close that again for us. Okay, so we use that when we come into land. It's our reverse thrust. So the actual jet engine's not in reverse. Okay.
Yeah, there's no way of doing that.
No. May cause some damage. So we'll get us back in the cockpit view now.
I need to get the plane straightened out.
Oh, we'll straighten that out when we start our ground roll. Okay, so we'll go through a few screens in front of you there. First screen is what we call our artificial horizon, or AH for short. Purely the blue represents the sky and the brown represents the ground. This black bar here, that's our pitch angle, so the relative to the horizon, I guess. At the moment it's right in the centre. When we're flying along straight and level, I just want you to have it between these two lines. Okay, that one there being 5 degrees and this one being 2.5. When we climb out, so after takeoff, I want you to ease back on the controls until that black line gets all the way up to this one here, which is 15 degrees. Okay, and we'll climb out nicely. Just before you get to 15 degrees, you may have to just ease forward on the controls just to set it at 15. Okay. On the left hand side we've got our airspeed, so we're showing 30 knots at the moment. That's just where it sits when we're not actually moving. On the right hand side here, that shows our altitude. So currently Taringa's 13 feet above sea level. That will always show above sea level. So I've got the same screens on my side as you have over there. We've got a button here we can show the terrain around us as well. Okay, and we're going to be following this pink line here over the hill to Hamilton. Okay, this dotted line here represents our extended centre line at Taringa, so that's the runway direction. It's distance from Hamilton, 42.6 nautical miles, and I can show a few other functions there when we're up flying. And these are all our engine indicators there. We've got our flaps, landing gear, which is down at the moment, which is good. And our flight management computers, which is in front of us here. So we program in where we want to go, what sort of height we want to go to, and then it purely follow that pink line on our route to Hamilton. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we set our throttles to automatic, okay, so they can take care of themselves. Makes it a lot easier when we're up flying, so we can actually concentrate on just flying the aircraft and where we want to go. Okay. Now when we're rolling down the runway, what I'll do is I want to count down from 3, 2, 1, and then I'll say rotate, which means we're going to pitch back on the controls, okay, until we set that bar up to 15 degrees. Okay. So 3, 2, 1, rotate, and then I want you to ease back on the controls and set that to 15 degrees.
Oh, okay.
Cool. So yeah, we're pretty much ready to go. We'll get into it. It's on. That's good. Set that to 250. So I'll just arm our auto throttles. And we'll cruise at 250 for now. I'll get you to press one of these black buttons under there, and then the throttles should advance to full throttle. And we'll start rolling down the runway. I'll just straighten us up here a little bit. So we're carrying quite a lot of fuel, so we need quite a lot of distance on the runway. So 3, 2, 1, rotate. So start easing back on the controls there. Just ease back more and more. Okay, and just set that line up to 15 degrees there. And I'll get our landing gear up. That's good. So we're going to climb up to 6,000 feet today, flying over to Hamilton. So we can actually start to roll the aircraft around to the right as well. What was your name, sorry?
Ken?
Ken. My name's Jason. So that's good, so just roll the aircraft around to the right. So that line you can see there in front of you on the screen, this dotted line.
Oh, I want to go on the pink line is.
Yeah, see how that dotted line's getting steeper and steeper? That represents where the aircraft's going to end up in 30 seconds. Okay, so that's 10 seconds, 20 and 30. So if you roll out, that line should shallow out, and if you roll in, that line will steepen up. So we'll just come around nicely to the right as you're doing there, and we'll intercept our pink line over to Hamilton.
Yep. So I want to go where that little round circle is.
You're actually the triangle, okay? And yeah, you're going to intercept this pink line, so just keep coming around like that is nice. So you can ease forward on the controls now, so just ease all the way forward there. And you want to set that bar back between the 5 degree and the 2.5 degree line, so just keep easing forward there. That's good. And then we should stabilise at our altitude. So we just climbed a little bit above what we needed to, but that's fine. What we'll actually do, Ken, is we'll track a little bit to the left of this pink line, because that pink line actually takes us directly to Hamilton. So if we follow it just to the left, we can line ourselves up nicely to come in to land in Hamilton, because the runway actually goes the other way in Hamilton. So just keep us coming around there nicely. So looking outside, okay, this is what we call the start of the Kiwi Ranges, which sort of separates the Waikato area from the Bay of Plenty. That's good. So we're just doing a couple of knots under 300 knots at the moment. So it's about...
So how do you put it on autopilot?
Yeah, we've got some autopilot functions up here which we can use. Makes it a bit more boring if we put on autopilot, but yeah, so we can do that. We've got the throttle set on automatic at the moment. So if you just roll level there, just level us off there to the left a little bit. Now we'll just keep tracking this direction nicely. Oh, you're doing good.
Yep.
So if I just zoom out on your view here on your screen, so Hamilton's up here further. So we're going to come along to the left of that, and then we're going to come into the right and make a right hand turn into Hamilton.
Yep.
That's good, so keep about this distance from that pink line, it's nice. What time's your next flight booked?
At 2 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
In the Boeing Stearman.
They're not strapping you to the wings, are they?
No. See, everybody at work says they'd never fly in something like that. I don't know why.
Is that right?
I flew on a Waco UPF-7 in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, excellent. What was that like?
That was good.
Yeah? We actually do some aerobatic flights here as well. Not in the, well, I have done loops in this.
Oh, will these big planes go upside down and back around?
Yep. It has been known to happen.
And you can take them right out when they're upside down and right back. Easy.
Yep, yep. Yeah. Not very comfortable for your passengers.
Oh, I bet everybody would freak out if that happened.
Put your seatbelts on, yeah. So we'll just turn this to the left a little bit there. Let's just roll us to the left and we'll just track out in that direction for now.
So how do you know if there's another plane coming?
You're kind of looked after depending on what height and what sort of flight you're on. If you're on a what we call instrument flight plan, then you're looked after by the tower control, Christchurch control. But basically, in uncontrolled airspace, you keep your eyes outside and look out for other aircraft. Good question, yeah.
Yeah, but for some small plane maybe flying around.
So we'll just track out to the left a bit more to head out towards this a small mountain out this way further. We'll track out that way, just get us a bit of distance away from Hamilton.
That far?
Yeah, that'll be fine for now. We'll just keep rolling this way. So we've got about 20 miles to go to get to Hamilton. So that's the Waikato River that is just up ahead there.
Yeah, see, what about when you're going through the clouds? You can't see if there's another plane.
No. Well, that's when it comes down to the different flight rules, instrument flying or visual flying. Instrument flying can be looked after by the control. They'll have you on their radar screens, okay? And the visual guys aren't allowed to fly in the cloud, so we're separated. Yeah.
Oh, so small planes don't go up that high?
They can do, yep, if they're an instrument rated aircraft and the pilot's rated to do that sort of flying. Yep. Otherwise, no, it shouldn't happen. We can just start just a gentle turn around to the right now as well. How long you been in New Zealand for?
A little over 3 weeks right now.
Excellent.
So I got about 1 week left.
Putting on some good weather for you, apart from a few days the other day. Been down the South Island, or?
Oh yeah, I've been all the way to the bottom of the South Island.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
I suppose
in California right now, it's winter time, so it's
is
cold.
it? Yeah. Well, there has been a bit of rain down the South Island, though, hasn't there, recently?
Yeah.
Queenstown, did you go down there?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's where I went on a helicopter and
Oh,
a
nice.
jet boat.
Did you do the bungee?
No, I don't know about that.
Did you go on the shot over jet, or?
Yeah. And see, I didn't do, everybody says you have to go here, you have to do skydiving too. I didn't do that.
Taupo's quite famous for that too, Taupo skydiving.
That and the Zorb I didn't go in.
Oh, I see, the Zorb, that's that thing that rolls down a hill.
Yeah, because they said they weren't doing the dry one, only the one where there's water inside of it. I didn't want to do that.
Nice.
They said that the wind was blowing too hard and you'll get whiplash when it hits the bottom. If you don't, with the wet one, you're not really moving that fast.
Oh, okay. So you can see here our runway which we're going to be landing on. The reason why I'm just tracking us out to the left is because the runway direction is actually that way. Okay, so we're going to come in and then around to the right.
Gotta get it back up.
So we'll just keep that nose up on the 2.5 line.
What does this do?
This is a trim wheel which I can control as well. Just helps just to relieve the pressure that you have to hold on the controls. Just put our speed brakes on and just kill a bit of airspeed. Just ease back on the controls there because we're going to actually descend if we don't. So we have to hold them back a bit more just so we can lose a bit of airspeed. And then
turn to the right.
Yep, we sure do. So put that back on. You want this black bar now on about 2.5 degrees now. So down here further, and we can start turning to the right as well. So rolling the aircraft around to the right and just lowering the nose down. I'll put our landing gear down, would be handy. So just keep that back pressure, that's good, keep it about there.
Oh, I'm gone too far.
Yep, yeah, that's right. So if you keep, there's lots of things to watch at once.
Yeah.
Okay, so just ease forward on the controls there. And just give your hand just to get the aircraft settled nicely. And keep us coming around to the right. So we should start to see Hamilton shortly. Keep coming around to the right.
Yep. Yep, I'm going down too low. Yeah, we got the runway. We're way off the runway.
Yeah, we just keep us coming around to the right like you're doing there, and just hold back pressure just to maintain our altitude. You can see the runway coming into view there. Okay, we've got those two white lights, and the runway's going in that direction. So we can just level off there, hold us there for the time being, and we'll just track in this direction, and then we'll come around to the left a little bit. So just lowering that nose down now. And bring us around to the left. Okay, just level us off there. You kind of need to anticipate in this aircraft because it's due to its inertia. Okay, the controls lag a lot, so there's a delay in our response. So we'll just keep coming over to the right and then bring us around to the left now. So bring us around to the left and just keep your nose up a bit there.
We're going in too low.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, roll level there. So I'll just help you out there just to get us nice and straight.
It's not as easy as it looks.
No, so we'll just level us off here and just hold the nose up about there is fine. And just roll level there now. So if you roll level, and that's pretty good there. Not too bad. Just need to level it off a little bit. Okay, I'll just disengage the auto throttle.
Oh,
Just a little bit off to the left there. Just level us off here. Oop. That was good.
Yeah. It's not as easy as it looks.
No. So I just got our auto throttles in there just to slow us down. Yeah, once we're on the ground, these don't actually do anything. Okay, so it's just our rudders to keep us straight on the ground. Yeah, just that last little bit, we just needed to level our wings, but apart from that, it wasn't too bad. What I'll get you to do now, Ken, is to turn us around. So once again, using our tiller.
All the way around?
Yep, so I'll just give us a little bit of thrust, and we'll come around to the right. And we'll backtrack down the other end of the runway, and we'll take off and head up to Auckland. So wave goodbye to Hamilton. So try and keep nice and straight in the centre there, and then I'll just program in where we actually are. Cool. Origin, Hamilton. Just bring us over to the right and we'll come round to the left again. I'll just slow us down a little bit.
Now you want me to turn around?
Just keep coming over to the right a little bit more. And then we'll turn all the way around to the left when we get right to the end of the runway there. That's good. To keep us coming around to the left. And try and get us nice and centre on the runway there. Okay, so we'll just park it up here, try and utilise the full length of the runway. So I'm just programming in our destination, which will be Auckland. Selecting our runway, 23, activate that. So now it can give us a line we can track and follow up to Auckland. Performance limits. Cruise altitude, we'll just climb up to 4,000 feet. Should be sufficient. Takeoff, flaps 15 degrees. Approach. Takeoff performance. Okay, auto takeoff. That's good. Auto throttle armed. And we'll zoom this out. Okay, so it's showing us the direct route to Auckland. Rightio, so once again I'll get you to press this button here and the auto throttles will take care of themselves. Yep, so you can press that.
Yeah, I gotta get it on the right.
So yeah, you can just use your rudder pedals just gently just to put us in the centre there. And once again I'll count you down 3, 2, 1 to our rotate speed. And then easing back on the controls. Setting that bar to 15 degrees again.
So it's about, how fast is it going when it lifts off the ground?
It's about 138 knots. about 250 kilometers an hour, I think. So you can rotate now. So 3, 2, 1, rotate. Just easing back on the controls. So setting our bar on our 15-degree line. And that's good. And we'll just climb up to 4,000 feet for this one. And we can commence a turn around to the left. So just easing forward on the controls there, level off at that altitude. Yes, ease it all the way forward down to the bottom here, between the 2.5 and the 5-degree line. That's good.
I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah, so just try and follow, this time try and follow that pink line. I've already programmed in a nice approach into Auckland.
Dude, I don't realize, how can somebody do this for like 14 hours in one day?
Yeah, what happens is they'll set the autopilot not long after takeoff, after they've passed all
Oh,
the...
so when you fly from like San Francisco to Sydney, they don't
Program
do
it
that
in.
the whole entire time.
Program it in, sit back and relax, yeah. As far as I know.
Yeah, because that'd be real hard to do that for that long.
When do you fly back?
Actually Thursday.
Oh yeah. Direct back to into LA
I
and
go
then
from here to Fiji, then there's a 7-hour layover there, and then I go to Los Angeles, then to San Francisco.
Ah.
Then I get on a bus that takes me to Napa, where I live.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's easier than leaving. You don't want to leave your car at the airport.
Oh.
Because they charge, it costs a fortune to
Yeah.
do that for a month.
Yeah. Fiji, should stay there for a few days. It's
Yeah.
really nice there.
Yeah, it's real hot there.
You notice when you land, even though you're still in the aircraft, you can feel like the humidity, the density of the air, and that, and it's thick. And then you hop off the aircraft. Oh boy.
And so their money's almost the same as yours and Australia's.
Their what, sorry?
Their money.
Yeah, it's fluctuated a bit over the years, but it's around $1 for dollar. Aussies
And
with...
see, Australia's $2 coins are the small ones.
Yeah. Yeah, they are actually. Ours are bigger.
Yeah, it should be the opposite way.
I think in England it's the same as well. The $2
Yeah,
one's
I
smaller.
haven't been there yet. So we got $1 bills.
I know. Well, in England,
Actually, now we have gold coins that are $1, but you only get those when you're at the post office and you buy stamps out of the machine. It gives you those in change. That's the only place I've ever seen
is that right?
Because I guess nobody wants them.
Well, yeah, in England they've still got 1 and 2p coins. We got rid of our 1 and 2 cent coins probably about 15 years ago.
Yeah, so we got 1 cent coins, but
Yeah.
they say it costs 1.2 cents to make one.
And how many people use them these days?
Oh, they still use them.
Do they?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's an economy boosting mechanism too. They round everything up, get rid of all the small change, and people spend more.
Like 99 cents or
Yeah.
on the end.
Well, they still do that here, and they just round it.
Quarters. So you don't take this up to 37,000 feet?
Can do. Can do.
Where am I off course?
Oh, we're just out to the right a little bit. It's not too bad.
When you get to the airport, how do you know which runway to land on?
There'll be a certain runway in use depending on the wind. If it's favouring one runway, so we always land into wind if we can. It shortens our ground roll. If it's quite a fickle wind or quite a light wind, then purely economical reasons, the airline will request to land on a certain runway if it's a quiet enough aerodrome. But in the likes of LA and so forth, you can't have aircraft, landing in both directions, one after the other. So they'll let you know which runway is in use prior to you actually getting there. So you'll be communicating with that aerodrome before you get near to that aerodrome. We'll just speed us up, Up to 350 knots.
This will go a lot faster than that, won't it?
See how it handles it. Pardon?
This plane will go a lot faster than that, won't it?
Yeah. Once again, everything happens a lot quicker though. See if we can get up to 400 then. The only thing is, when we get there, or nearing our destination, we have to try and get rid of all that speed. Doesn't actually want to go up higher. So we're about 24 miles away. We're going to trek out to a point called Whitford. It's like a reporting point which a lot of approaches into Auckland take for their approach. It lines them up nicely for the runway. So just before we get to Whitford, we'll make a left-hand turn into Auckland. So we've still got a little bit to go. So you enjoying yourself at Tauranga?
Oh yeah.
It's quite a nice spot, eh?
Mm-hmm.
So we're coming up now to Whitford. It's not far away. It's represented by the HD there. And this is Auckland over to our left here. Representing by that dotted line, that's the direction of the runway.
So I'm going to want to turn to my right, left.
Just keep following that pink line for now. Man, I'll actually start slowing the aircraft down.
So they start losing altitude?
Yeah, well what happens once we reduce the power that the aircraft wants to sink, that's fine, we need to lose a little bit of height anyway, so you can actually let
we're
us...
a little higher than we're supposed to be.
Yeah, you can actually let us descend anyway, so just lower that nose down and we'll just descend nicely. Just keep us out to the right a little bit. I'll just get some speed brakes on and we'll just kill a bit of airspeed, so we'll have to raise the nose now that I've done that. So we'll just need to ease back on the controls there. With the speed brake destroying all that lift on the wings, we just descend really fast. So we need to allow for that by raising the nose of the aircraft. We just need to reduce that airspeed so we can start lowering our landing gear and flaps. So just keep that nose up a bit higher. And you can actually start turning us around to the left as well. Man, I'll get that landing gear down.
Oh, you can hear that.
Yeah. So just lower the nose down there. Yeah, just roll out of that a little bit there. So you can just roll out a little bit, so just level us off from that turn. So that's pretty good, we'll just keep us coming around like that, that'll be nice. Keep us coming around to the left there. So you can see the runway starting to come into view just up here further. So we need to come around to the left a little bit more. Just warning us because we're turning quite steep. So we can just roll level a bit there. So rolling out to the right.
Yeah, but I gotta keep it off the ground.
That's fine. Just turn us around to the right now. You can see the line here, that's where we're going to be in 30 seconds, so we actually want to be around to the right.
Yep. Yep.
Yep, just keep us coming around to the right. Now, there's actually two runways there, one on the left and one on the right. It's not that darker portion in the middle. So we'll take the one on to the one to the left will be fine. So closer to that,
little red thing
closer
there.
to the red lights here. Those lights actually indicate our approach slope. So when we've got two white and two red, it indicates a perfect slope. So at the moment it's indicating that we're slightly low. So we're about 5 miles to go. 5.5 miles. So we're about 200 feet lower than we should be. So just roll level there. Just route to the left. See how you need to anticipate our turns. Need to roll before we need to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So if we roll level there, then we should come in nice and straight.
Yeah.
Now after we touch down, I'll get you to use those reverse thrust, okay, after we actually are on the runway. Just bring us over to the left a bit. Yep, bring us over to the left a bit more.
It usually goes too far.
Yep, so we just bring us over to the left, and I'll tell you when to roll back to the center again. So start rolling back to the center now. So we need to roll back like that, and then roll center like that. Okay, that's pretty good. It's a nice approach. Ooh, screen's a bit jumpy.
I had to go over to the right.
Yep, and then just anticipate by just rolling level again like that. Okay, I'll just disengage our auto throttles. So just keep the nose up a little bit, so easing back on the controls a little bit, just a little bit more. And then easing forward on the controls. You can do the reverse thrust now for us. Perfect landing.
Like the other way.
Done this before, eh? That was well done. And we can use our park brake as well. Cool. Oh, that was excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
that was
Well done.
the first one.
That was good. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, brilliant.
The first landing wasn't too good.